has questions about the weakness question. I love the weakness question. It was my favorite to ask. I did hate the boring perfectionist, hard worker. I'm not very good at presentations, so I went to Toastmaster questions. I actually love it when someone is vulnerable. And the reason why is because I noticed a change in myself. I noticed a change in hiring managers when someone gave an actual weakness. So my weakness was empathy. And when I use this in the mental health space, and I use this in recruiting, and I always got great reasons and great feedback on my weakness. And I think it's because of how I answered it. I identified the weakness. My weakness is empathy. And then I gave the pain of the weakness. So in mental health, it meant very difficult for boundaries. In recruitment, it was I wore my heart on my sleeve, and I wanted to hire someone who's really bad at interviews because I knew no one else would hire them. So not the best strategic choice. I talked about realizing that, like how I came to realize. And then I talked about the checks and balances that I put in place to make sure that I was not making those overly empathetic decisions. So to me, that's how you answer a weakness question, is you identify the real weakness, and it's something that's always a weakness. You talk about the pain of that weakness, how it got in the way. You talked about how you realized it got in the way, and then what you do to keep that weakness in check. So that's the way that I love to hear that answered, and how I loved it to answer it. So yeah, that's how I would recommend. What about you, Yauhan? What's your different take?
No different take. Actually, we have the exact same. And my weakness also is high EQ or high empathy, or just being overly compassionate sometimes, which has gotten in my way on many, many times
Mm-hmm.
with many people and many projects. So I'm just very transparent about that, that I'm a very empathetic person. Just overly kind sometimes. And I have to realize that sometimes I cross boundaries doing that, and it gets in the way of, projects then getting a bit of, sidetracked, and people coming to me and asking me for all kinds of things because I'm always giving, giving, giving. So over the years, I have identified that as a weakness, and I've learned to set those boundaries. I've learned to not be overly kind with people, but at the same time, not be, unkind as well. And I give examples of one or two things I've done to overcome that. So I hope that helps.
If you liked this video, then I invite you to join me in the Find Your Dream Job program, where you work less, make more money, and finally feel fulfilled doing work that you love. Find out more at www.saracurto.ca/CYLA. See you there.